It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It is the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name is Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Hello, all.
And Liz Newman.
Hello, everybody.
How are you guys doing? Yeah.
Groovy.
Hanging in there. One piece at a time.
One finger at a time.
When life gives you the finger.
Woo.
Hope everybody's doing okay out there. Apologize for no episode last week. It was kind of unavoidable, but things happen. So what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy, everybody?
Hang on, I need to get some popcorn.
Scrunch.
Well, I went on vacation.
Yay.
I saw the beach. A Texas beach, so,
Right, there's a certain qualification there, but yeah. It is actually a beach.
It was. There was sand and everything.
So much sand.
I didn't realize that. What year was Hurricane Irma? Let me look that up real quick. Hurricane Irma hit pretty hard on the coastline down there, and in the process, 2017, 5 years ago, 6 years ago,
right.
The Hurricane Irma hit the Gulf pretty hard, and it rearranged all the sandbars down there. So, things that you would normally do, like collecting sand dollars, and that kind of thing, it's kind of hard to do right now because, the sandbars and their whole little ecosystem's been rearranged down there. But one of the neat things, though, is on these sandbars that it has made, if you stand there long enough, like
all of the jellyfish you can stand.
Right. I did see a jellyfish. What are you supposed to do when you see one on the beach?
Walk away.
Yeah.
Quickly.
Right. Well, we tried to flick it back in the water, make sure it was dead, but it did come right back up. But those tentacles are so long, I can see how people can run over them and, not realize what you've hit. I mean, you do see the jelly blob, but you don't see how long those, it's almost like a piece of thread by the time it comes out of the water. In the water, a little more visible than it is out of the water, which is kind of scary. But, yeah, I mean, we had a lot of fun. We rode the ferry, we saw dolphins, did some shopping,
How was the haunted tour?
I didn't get to go. Nobody would want to go with me.
Those chicken shits.
Yeah.
Bastards.
Like, damn it. And I didn't get to see the aquarium. Every vacation we ever go on, we always, anywhere new, we try to hit the aquariums. Supposed to be a really nice one. It's like we're right here by the coast. I bet they have some amazing fish that we haven't seen before. No, didn't get to do that either. Yeah. And then we had forgotten about Cinco de Mayo. And I guess it's kind of like was a whole weekend kind of thing. But we had, we decided after we went and saw the dolphins that we wanted to rent a boat. Be able to, there was a couple of things they showed us that we wanted to go and look at a little longer, that kind of thing. So when we went home, we made the reservations. Of course, they take everything out on your credit card right then and there, We wake up the next morning getting ready for, to go out on the boat. No, they've canceled our reservation. So they call us and, before we decide to rent this thing, it was like, do we really want to do this? Because the refund policy was like bullshit. Once you give them your money, it's theirs pretty much. There is no refunds. They can reschedule you up to a year, but when are we going back? So they call us and was like, no, we forgot we were closing at noon. And, we can, at that point we wouldn't have gotten our full time if we would have went before noon, but I don't know, asked if they could reschedule us. Well, no, because we're not going to be there and everything else. So now I have this big hefty charge on my card, which then after they're trying to cancel it and everything else, my bank flags it because it's in Galveston and I'm not from Galveston. So, yeah, big mess. Didn't get the boat. Froze my credit card. Not fun. So, boat place in Galveston, you suck. I forgot their names. I would
plenty
really
of
call
them,
them out.
so got to be specific. But anyway.
Right. I just thought it was crazy. If you knew you were closing at noon, why did you take a reservation? And I honestly didn't think that our card would be charged until we showed up. That's what I thought. But
I'm not surprised they charged your card.
Yeah.
Not at all.
I mean, I'm not either, but it was just a hassle when all they had to do was make like 2 tweaks to their websites to not take reservations after noon, But, yeah, I guess I should have taken the reschedule and made Phil take me back down there.
Hey, that's a thought.
Yeah. But another weird thing we saw when we were down there was a red moon. And pretty cool. I texted one of my friends. It was like, are you seeing this? And they're like, nope, pretty big and white, but it's not red. So I don't know if it was something because of where I was at, but it was pretty weird that the moon was red and it wasn't everywhere, like a blood moon or something, But when I say red, I mean like red. It was, plus it was the night of the full moon. So it was pretty impressive, but.
So many possible jokes. Can't even decide between them.
I'll have to show you guys just so you don't think I'm weird, but I wasn't drunk. I did see it. It was red. But yeah, I mean, other than that, try to catch up from vacation. That's about all I've been doing. Yeah, every morning I woke up, got to see the sunrise over the ocean. I'm still, it's like, can I sleep in? No. Not in the cards.
Sleeping in. I think I remember what that was like.
Right.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, we did have a lot of fun. So I wasn't too sure going in what it was going to be like. And it was, we had Phil's aunt, and I don't know, it's his cousin's wife. I don't know who that is to him. But anyways, then the kids, Brandon and, James and his wife and the baby and everything else, well, we split up in cars and we got the aunt and the cousin. So when we get there, I looked at Phil and it was like, how the hell did we wind up with the old people? And then I'm sitting there looking at the kids and I'm like, oh my fucking God, we are the old people.
Yep.
When did that happen?
For you, it happened on this vacation, but for the younger people, it's always been the case.
It's like, damn, that kind of sucked. It's like we aged 30 years, just like that. But it is kind of neat, though, seeing them putt around with their little family and stuff the way that we did, you know. And it was the first time for the baby to see the beach, so that was pretty cool, too. I think we were there every single day.
Well, that kind of is
Raining
the point,
or not,
right?
we were there.
It doesn't rain for long. It's fine.
Yeah. I mean, like the baby said, we're wet anyways.
Mm-hmm. As long as you're not seeing
The
any
voice
of
of
the lightning,
reason.
it's fine.
Right. Now, we was pretty fortunate. They had said that it was really going to rain hard, and it never really did. It kind of sprinkled off and on, but not enough to cancel plans on anything. So then we came home to the rain.
Well, we didn't want you to miss out.
Right. Thanks. I don't know what I guess maybe it's the humidity down there, but it's like after driving around a full week, my little car had this like grime yuck all over it. I don't know. It was dirt, but it was like sticky dirt, you know? So me and the baby take the car in Sunday and was getting it washed. And they're like, it's about to rain, right? It's like, yes, I know. But I have to get the gross out of my car, get the sand out of my car.
Right. The
Get
deal
salt
is
water off my car.
Right. It's sand and salt is what it is, and you definitely want to get that off of your car because cars rust out in that stuff.
Big time.
So you want to get it off as soon as you can.
Yep. Yeah. We was looking at the way some of the metal and wood around the ocean looked. It's like, wow, this is probably not even that old, and it looks 100 years old. And I couldn't get past the mold smell. I know being at sea level, you're going to have some different smells, but I couldn't get past that.
A lot of that's the humidity, too. I mean, the mold grows better in the humid air. So it does happen. And also it's the Gulf of Mexico, which is not the prettiest or cleanest.
Yeah. It's not that. I mean, it's not a bad beach, but
no, it's fine. And there's other stuff that makes Galveston interesting too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of history there. They actually do some pretty good seafood there.
Yeah.
So
the food was pretty good.
Mm.
We ate a couple of different places. We did go to the actually you had told us about one place, and closer to the condo we were staying at, they had like a food truck, and it was the same place. So it was like, oh, we got to try that.
Sweet.
So it was pretty good. And then when they went fishing, and I'm not about fishing, so everything they caught, they processed it for them, and they got to take it back.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a restaurant down there that it's kind of like bring your own fish. And you bring your own fish, and they'll cook it any way that you want them to, and they'll even suggest things on the kind of fish that you have, and so that was pretty cool too.
The kind of stuff you don't get 300 miles inland like we are here.
No, not really, and not that fresh for sure.
Right.
There was one place that we went to, and I don't know, maybe I have a different palate than my group, but everybody just said how good the food was, but my crab cake was brown. And it's like, no. I don't care how fresh the crab meat is. Your crab patties are not supposed to be brown.
Was it breaded, maybe?
I don't know, but this was
some places
like
we'll bread
all the
put
way
breading
through.
on. Oh, that's probably not good then.
Yeah, and instead of you would expect good seafood. We're sitting there looking at the freaking ocean, and it was just stringy, and it's like it's not even soft, flaky crab meat. This is like
It sounds overcooked.
Yeah, it was bad.
But also, people who
And
like
overpriced.
seafood don't order crab cakes, just for the record.
See, I don't eat fish.
Okay,
I eat
shrimp.
I eat shellfish, but I don't eat anything that has a fish taste to it. I won't eat it. So the only thing we could eat at this
If
place
it's done
was
well. Anyway.
yeah, it had the only thing that wasn't fish was the crab cakes. So it
Well,
was
that's
like
unfortunate. It's also
yeah.
very weird because shrimp is a huge thing there.
Well, they had
But,
shrimp, but it was in a gumbo, and I make my
okay.
own gumbo, and I'm kind of a
Yeah,
snob.
gumbo snob. All right.
Yeah.
Can't argue with that.
What, the fact that she's a snob, or that?
No, this specifically towards the gumbo thing.
Okay.
Gumbo is a controversial topic.
Yeah. And I learned from a lady who like lived in the bayou in Louisiana, so I'm used to like that kind of gumbo.
Right.
And kind of like Mexican food, it is different where you go.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it's authentic, some of it's Tex-Mex, and some of it's just like gross. And crazy as it is, the best place that we ate down there was actually a Mexican food place. So it was like, wow. But it was really good. And not badly priced for what it was,
Cool.
And then Star Wars Day. If someone's sitting there watching a Star Wars movie and like intensely into it, wearing a Star Wars shirt, has already wished you may the Fourth be with you, would you then turn around and say how childish it was for people who watched that and Disney was evil? And I mean, wouldn't you just kind of not piss the nerd off and avoid those subjects?
You would hope.
You would hope.
This seems
So
like a
when you
loaded
said-
question. I don't know.
Yeah. Like I said, there was a few times that I had to bite my tongue because it was like, as much as I'm into comics, I'm into Disney. I don't care about Disney's politics. I don't care about Disney's theme parks. I don't give a shit about anything but Disney movies. That's what I like. If you want me to know anything outside of, their movies, I'm probably going to tune you out. That's just the way I am, I like it. I grew up with it. It's 9 times out of 10, they're pretty darn good movies, all ages. I've always liked that kind of thing. So, just not very wise to go off on the mouse around me.
Hey, hold that thought for later.
Yeah. But I did meet a guy at the convenience store on May the 4th, and it took me a second, and then it's kind of one of those, oh man, I was wearing a Star Wars shirt, and he was like, I really love Mark Hamill, and I kind of looked at him like, good for you. I mean, I'm happy you can tell me that, and then it dawned on me, Mark Hamill, duh, Star Wars. So we started talking about Star Wars then, and it was pretty cool. He told me a few things I didn't know. I told him a few things he didn't know. I told him about our podcast, so.
Cool.
So yeah, if he's listening, hello.
Hi, strange guy. Liz met
Hi, strange guy.
at a convenience store in Galveston.
Yeah. He worked at the Sea Isle.
Cool.
But yeah, I don't think he ever said what his name was. I know I probably didn't say mine, so. Yeah, it's just kind of cool when you can run into someone and automatically have something in common, But I am sad how long it took me for Mark Hamill, because it was like, what?
What does the Joker have to do with this? I mean, come
on. That's what I did tell him. That's my favorite Mark Hamill. But I understand that the Skywalker kick. He did it for a little while, you know. But no, that's pretty much all I got.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
All right, well, I guess I should go before you come up with any more stories.
Yeah, really.
I'm kidding. But I'm going anyway. Okay, I almost said something not nice, but I'm not gonna do that. So I had watched something on Tubi a few months ago, and when it was over, a movie popped up that looked. All I did was look at the cover art for it, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'll take a look at that. And so I finally got around to watching that last week, this week, over the weekend, I think I watched it. The movie is called She, and it's from 1935. And I think the thing that caught my eye was that it was billed as science fiction, but the star of it was Randolph Scott. And so
Randolph Scott?
Randolph Scott.
How Scott was he?
What? No, that's actually good. I like it.
Whatever happened to Randolph Scott? Sorry, it's a song, but go ahead.
The other thing that caught my eye, I like pulled it up. This would have been late last week sometime to start watching it, and his co-star, I was like really intrigued by the time when I realized who his co-star for this movie was. It was Nigel Bruce.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was. It was fun to see Nigel Bruce not play an idiot. I mean, he did a couple of dumb things in the movie, but he hadn't been typecast like that yet. So he was actually the scientist of the group. But so this movie is based on a novel by H. Rider Haggard. Was actually one of several different versions of that story that was made into movies. But anyway, it's the story of a guy who gets kind of drafted by his dying uncle to go on this expedition to the Arctic, which is not where they go in the book, but that's a different story. To find the secret of eternal life, which is a little ironic that his uncle's dying, and actually dies before they leave. But so his uncle kind of sends him on this mission to go find this, and it's a little bit of an adventure to get there, and then they get there and they find this lost civilization, kind of Lost World like in that way, but not exactly. It's a different story, obviously. And the ruler of that world of that lost civilization is nasty and evil, and I'm not to get too spoilery on an almost 90-year-old movie, but she's immortal. So that whole eternal life thing is real, and they find it, obviously, and there's a lot of kind of back and forth relationship politicking thing going on, and eventually the good guy gets the girl and wins the day. The girl is not the queen lady. The queen, which the one thing I did think was interesting was it took me a while. The title of the movie, She, is kind of short for what is essentially her title. which is She Who Must Be Obeyed. So if you've ever heard that line before, there's a chance it's a reference to this story, if not this movie specifically. It was interesting to see Randolph Scott in that kind of role. It was very not Western. And to see Nigel Bruce playing a smart person was a lot of fun. I thought the movie was pretty decent. I mean, it's not it certainly wasn't an Oscar winner. Looking it up afterwards, apparently it is listed in the official Razzie Movie Guide as one of the 100 most enjoyably bad movies ever made, which I think is a little unfair, but whatever, to each his own. I thought it was fun. It managed to keep my interest. It was not like a super original story, but it's also a movie made in 1935 based on an 1887 novel, so original story is not really the goal. I thought it was entertaining. It was fun. I had to bring up the She Who Must Be Obeyed thing, but because that's also fun. The version on Tubi is colorized. It looks like it was colorized a long time ago because the colors are now faded, which is, I thought, interesting, but whatever. I liked it.
Cool.
Nice.
Had you seen the other versions?
No, I have not. I hadn't even really heard of it. I was a little surprised when it said it was based on a H. Rider Haggard book. For those who don't know, Haggard's more famous novels were the Allan Quatermain, King Solomon's Mines, and several others. So he was a well-known writer at the time. But yeah, that was like the fourth version. In 1935, it was the fourth version of that movie.
Wow.
Méliès himself made one in 1899. So, there's that.
Wasn't Ursula Anderson one?
Yes, the Hammer version in 1965.
And she played the title character. She was the evil person.
Mm-hmm.
We have to track this one down. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. It's I thought it was fun.
Nice. Okay, Les?
I spent the time enjoying the movie we're going to discuss tonight. So between that and the Free Comic Book Day, shout out to the folks that hosted those. I enjoyed that. That was fun.
Cool.
Yep, it was a good time.
Yep. Yeah, Free Comic Book Day was fun. Checked out a few places, and good time was had by all. That's pretty much all I've got on my list, because there's other stuff that was going on, real life stuff that these guys know, so been dealing with that. So, all right, before we get into this week's discussion, I do want to point out that we do have a Discord that y'all are more than welcome to come join. We post a lot of news items, stuff for discussion, stuff to make you laugh, memes, videos. We haven't done any kind of activity on Discord recently. We need to do something about that at some point here soon. Discord is free to sign up and is available in any app store. We do have open invitation on our homepage, www.thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, and join the day.
Yeah, we have fun over there.
Yeah.
Okay. We are finishing up our little Miss Marvel run that starred Dame Margaret Redford. And this film is entitled Murder Ahoy. Dun, 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 dun. This was from 1964. Let's go ahead and talk about Murder Ahoy.
I didn't like this one as much as the other ones.
Really? Why's that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it was maybe the theme, or I just was sick and tired of boats. Or
You watched it right after you got back from Galveston, right?
I did.
Okay. Yeah, that might not have been great timing.
And I didn't think it was funny as the other ones. I still liked her character. She's still snappy and everything, but I don't know. This one just had like a different vibe to it than the other three did.
It kind of did. I agree with you.
That was very succinct.
I know, right? That's why I'm sort of stumbling here to get started. This is also definitely, by a ways, my least favorite of the four. As much as I liked Rutherford's performance in the first three, even as the movies got less good, I still liked her. I actually didn't like her as much in this one. I thought it didn't seem as friendly to me this time. I'm not sure. I'm still not sure quite why. But part of the thing that I liked about her before was she was a little snooty, but generally a kind of a sweet person.
Yeah.
I didn't feel the sweetness as much this time.
Yeah. No proposal.
Well, not for her anyway.
Yeah, there was quite a few. Yeah.
Somebody else got one. But yeah, it didn't feel the same to me. And some of the other performances, it was just, I mean, I hate to steal Les's thunder again, but his comments about how the humor was kind of just getting more and more over the top. I think in this one it just fell flat. It wasn't even so much that it was over the top, it was that it just didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
To be funny, they decided that the captain of the ship was just this complete and utter weasel and had no redeeming value whatsoever. And they decided that was the funny for this movie. Mm-hmm. And the fact that where in the past the Inspector Craddock, was not incompetent, but at least not always very accepting of Miss Marple's ideas, he was a complete non-factor in this movie. I mean, you almost could have just lifted him out of this movie entirely. All he was a victim, basically. Not a murder victim, but otherwise he was completely ineffectual, and that was a lot less fun than his character has been in the past for me. So it just, I mean, he didn't even get to make the arrest, for crying out loud.
But he was locked in the box.
Right, just like a bumbling idiot,
mm-hmm.
which misses the point. The deal before was he was there when he needed to be there. This time he didn't even get that. So yeah, I wasn't a fan of this movie either. I'm sad to say.
Yeah. I wanted to like it though.
So did I, but it didn't last very long.
Yeah.
Yeah. I almost stopped watching this film.
Oh wow, when?
Pretty early on, about the basically right around the scene where the quote unquote joke of all the hierarchy had to shift down one room because Miss Marple was getting the captains. It just, yeah.
That was a long way to go for a bad joke, for sure.
Yeah. That was a very bad, long-running joke. Yes, but I kept going. I go back to our last film where I made the comment about in these mystery films, all the people who are suspects, you may not really care for them, but there's something there that kind of keeps your attention where you. But the last one is just like you didn't care about any of the characters. This one's even worse, in my opinion. It's like
they're not even characters.
They're not even characters, right? It's got the writing on this was just horrific.
It was a definite downturn.
It was almost like and bless their hearts, all the actors were trying to do their best, I guess, but it just seemed like there's just like, okay, we're getting paid to do this, so let's just go through the motions and make this film. It was really tough for me, and it's kind of a shame because I enjoyed the other films, some more than others, but this was a tough one. This was a tough watch in my eyes, and obviously y'all feel somewhat the same.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Les loved it.
He's quiet.
You stunned him with that one.
Would you believe that I did love it?
No.
Yes.
No.
You're right. I did not. This one was so rife with what I spoke of earlier. Let's just... isn't this listed as a comedy rather than a mystery? I got a feeling that if it's not, then somebody is not understanding what ratings mean. Because this one fell flat. I will agree to that. There was nothing redeeming about it. The characters were non sequiturs. It drove me nuts. Just because, to me, they thought that, well, we got away with it once, we can get away with it again. Believe me, crime does not pay. And this was a crime. This one should not have been. Sorry to say, this one probably shouldn't have been made. I enjoy Rutherford. I think she is an extremely fine actress. But this one just stretched. And it was almost like watching an episode of Laugh-In. Let's just pop up and make a joke and then run away and see what happens. See how people react. I would love to have seen something a little more divergent, something a little less comedic. But at that time, we were subject to the processes of English actors, English films, and at that time they loved to play the beatnik type feel to it. So, would I watch it again? Probably. If I was bored silly. But would I recommend it? Probably not. And that's about all I got to say about that.
See, I almost said something when you talked about it being like an episode of Laugh-In. I was thinking, hey, wait a minute, Laugh-In was funny, and then I realized kind of what you meant, which was if you took a single 30-minute episode of Laugh-In and stretched it out to an hour and 45 minutes, it would be a whole lot less funny. And I think that's what we get here.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I also find it interesting because in the reading about it online, so for the first 3 films, we got actual adaptations of Agatha Christie novels, even if they weren't Miss Marple novels.
Right.
Not so with this one, by golly. Not surprisingly, this had nothing to do with an Agatha Christie story. There was a minor reference to one story, which was basically the ship itself. And that was it. This was all totally invented by the writers. Boy, does it show or what?
Just a bit.
Just a tad.
This is like, in that reference, it's like watching The Thin Man and then watching a couple of the other Thin Man movies, which I enjoyed immensely, all of them. But you could see which one was written by Hammett and which ones were not.
Yeah, this was kind of disappointing.
This was definitely the least mysterious of them. There were times where, I mean, one, it just moved so slow.
Yep.
And it wasn't like it just didn't seem like it was going anywhere. And I mean, other than a body count, it's hard to even tell that there's a murder mystery in here.
Yeah.
It seemed to be more about her just sort of showing up and imposing her will on everybody. Which is weird because the character is a lot more subtle than that, and she was not being subtle in this movie at all, and I think the movie paid for it.
It's amazing what the woman could do, because wasn't she a star golfer at her college, and then she was also a superb fencer from her college.
And apparently, horsemanship was a big thing. Yeah, she's very accomplished for someone who lives in a small town and nobody knows her. Yeah, there was.
I was just going to ask if anyone else would recommend this.
Absolutely not.
No.
No.
Not this one.
Would happily, if somebody asked me about this movie, I would happily point them at the first one.
Yeah. Or the first three. This one, to complete the set, you know.
There's some completists out there, so.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm often a completist, but.
I would do it.
You would. We've discussed that many times, but. Many times when you shouldn't have, but.
You're right. Few Thanksgiving movies stand out.
Yeah, this one was disappointing. I mean, as much as we were kept out of the information that we would need to figure out the mystery ourselves in the previous movies, like I said, it's hard to tell there's even a mystery happening at all. I mean, it's just her doing weird stuff that there's not really a good explanation as to. I mean, why she was there when the first guy died was convoluted and a bit contrived to begin with. I mean, who the hell is this lady? Because clearly she knows everybody and has done everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even have a good comparison for that.
Yeah.
Nobody is as accomplished as she is. Which, honestly, the deal is the more accomplished she gets, the less fun it becomes, and kind of the less interesting it becomes, because we're just backing our way into Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
And by 1964, Holmes had been done to death, and so it's just not as appealing as when it's just this eccentric little lady in a small town in England. That's more interesting. To me, anyway. Maybe I'm weird. I don't know. Maybe. We all know I'm weird, but...
As I say, you are weird, but...
Yeah, I wouldn't be here otherwise, right? Y'all never let me on this show if I wasn't weird.
Well, any final thoughts? I hope everybody enjoyed Miss Marvel month. It was kind of interesting watching these films. A couple of these I had seen before, but it had been a long time, so it was kind of neat to see them again. But
yeah, no, it was fun.
Yeah,
it's a little bit of a change of pace from what we usually do. So nothing wrong with that.
They were interesting to watch, no doubt about that. And hopefully we'll find something else that'll be a similar liking.
Yeah, broaden our horizons a little bit.
We'll work something out. On that note, we are going to take a quick break and be back with Geek News for You. And we're back. It's time for Geek News for You. In this segment, we bring a couple of news items to the table for discussion. This week, it's Mikey and myself. Mikey, would you like to lead off?
Oh, sure. I love leading off, which is why I let Liz do it every week for everything else.
Not my week.
Nope. You sure you don't have one you don't want to talk about?
No. Do y'all really want me to start talking again?
No, not really. No. How do you do that? Just lob them up there like a softball. I can't help but swing. Anyway. So the article I picked was off of CBR. And it is It is regarding the 2023 film Peter Pan and Wendy, which, if you're not aware, and I sure as hell wasn't, this is Disney's live-action version of Peter Pan, which they released on Disney Plus streaming like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, long story short, it is not going well for this movie. People don't seem to like it much. It currently, or as of, or according to this article, it has a 13% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Right. I'm not 100% sure what the complaint in this article is. The article's kind of all over the place. The point seems to be that that's normal, that remakes are bad, but then he gives examples of recent remakes that have like fantastic scores on Rotten Tomatoes, and so I'm not sure what the argument. I mean, so the title, it's kind of clickbaity. It says Peter Pan and Wendy sets a painful Disney live-action remake record, which is for the worst Rotten Tomatoes audience score. Beyond that, it doesn't really. I mean, it talks about the cast, and the cast is mostly, because this is a movie about children, it's mostly a bunch of people whose names we don't know. Apparently Jude Law played Captain Hook. And they had Jim Gaffigan as Mr. Smee. The rest of these names I don't know anything about, because I'm sure most of them are 10 years old or are just so outside of my movie watching range as to be completely unheard of. But there's also this one little commentary paragraph where he kind of complains about how the movie doesn't make sense. I don't know. And then there's a little plug for The Little Mermaid, which comes out very soon and is actually expected to do really well in the theaters. So I don't know. I'm not sure what makes this news exactly. And I'm not sure. It's like he's complaining that live action remakes of Disney animated movies suck, but then he gives a bunch of evidence that they obviously don't, and so it's a very confusing article, which seems to be bashing remakes, which, that's something we do on the show all the time, so that's kind of why I think it caught my eye. I don't ultimately get what the article's about. So, and CBR usually doesn't do stuff like that. I mean, they do some, but they don't do it more than any of the other news sites do. So they're reasonably good in that regard. But it's just an odd article. And I mean, my whole thing is, I'm not huge on remakes. I don't go out of my way for remakes, but I mean, somebody does, because they keep doing them, because they keep making money. So I guess I'm kind of the opinion of, why bitch about remakes? I mean, other than in the weird little context that we bitch about remakes. I mean, we actually wait until there's a truly terrible one that we saw to raise a stink about them. Otherwise, it's just, okay, it's just the studios trying to make money. Okay, no big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy about remakes.
To me, it depends on the remake. Mm-hmm. I've seen some good remakes.
Yeah.
But then we go back to the discussion we've had it. They do it because of money.
Yeah.
And I understand that. But not to the extent that they believe in it. You've told the story. it's been told several times by different groups or different companies. Call it a day. Just walk away from it.
The thing I don't understand the thinking is with this is these are very successful in some cases, particularly this one here. These are animated movies that have been around for a long time. So what is the thought process of, well, if we make it live action, and in some cases live action is in quotations, Lion King, why? What is the thought process? Well, if we make it live action, it's going to be different. Even like Melissa says, they're telling the same story. It just happens to be not animated, or at least not 2D animated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't get that, but that's been the kick they've been on for several years now.
Well, my guess, and it is entirely a guess, is, I mean, let's think back at how animated movies tend to go over. And I'm not talking about specifically like Disney animated classics. I'm talking about it in general. Animated movies don't really get taken seriously. And they kind of never have. I mean, even like something like Peter Pan, when it comes out in 1953, I think? Something like that. In the 50s. Yeah, 1953. Even though it was something that Disney had been doing for 20 plus years, it's still viewed as an aberration that it was so good and so successful. And the fact that it's referred to as an animated film as opposed to just being called a film, I think is a big tell. So the deal is, now we've got a whole new generation of executives in charge at Disney who have experienced for their entire lives how marginalized animated film is. So yeah, they're thrilled at the idea to, one, get it away from animation so that it can be a real movie, and two, make a shitload more money from a new generation of filmgoers. Just a theory.
Yeah.
Just a guess. I hate it when y'all get quiet when I say crazy shit like that.
Is there an animated, or is there an animated film that you would like made into a live action?
No.
Nope.
I have no problem with that. You've got a very skewed audience for that question, though, because we all love animation.
Yeah.
So we're biased toward it, as opposed to people who like make decisions about movies who are clearly biased against it. I mean, look at how marginalized it is in the Oscars. I mean, if it wasn't marginalized, it wouldn't have a bunch of separate awards. And yeah, I do feel the same way about women. If they weren't marginalized, there wouldn't be a separate award.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress really hard on that one.
You got me scratching my head, that's for damn sure.
So when do we get a live action Cars or Toy Story? I mean, granted, those are Pixar, but still. When did those happen?
We already had a live action Cars. It was called Knight Rider.
Well, Knight Rider came before Cars.
Right.
30 years.
So they animated the live action.
They went the other direction.
Yeah.
Because Pixar was trying really hard to make animation work and get it accepted in the mainstream.
And they did pretty good.
They made some really good movies.
Yeah,
They
came out swinging.
Uh-huh. Whether it changed the view of society and the Academy, I don't know. I don't think they did, but
I don't know. Then you see Gilmore, who cleaned up with Pinocchio this year. I think it was good. I mean, you guys know I watched that movie probably at least 11 times. I think not only was it good, it just kind of surprised people that it was animated and it was good. You know, not saying it shouldn't have won awards or anything else, but I think a lot of that hype was people were really shocked that they found animation, interesting.
Oh, okay, I'm faltering here. You say, who made this?
Guillermo del Toro.
Oh, okay, Del Toro's Pinocchio?
Uh-huh.
29% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Pinocchio was?
Pinocchio was.
Wow.
It did not go over. It may have made a shit ton of money, but it did not go over particularly well.
I'm surprised on that. I mean, it did at the award shows, but I'm kind of surprised it's got a low score like that on Rotten Tomatoes.
There's usually very little connection between award shows and the general public.
True. Well, and it was dark. If people went in wanting Disney's Pinocchio, you were not going to like this.
They should have seen Del Toro's name on the
exactly
marquee and said, "Oh wait, this might not be a happy-go-lucky movie."
Right, and it wasn't.
No.
And that's what I liked about it. There was no holds barred. He showed you what grief was, how a parent would feel when they lost a child, and you felt that. Hard to do with animation. And anytime you make people feel they don't like it, so.
At least they didn't go see Tom Hanks.
Which Tom Hanks was this? The most recent one?
The Pinocchio.
He was Geppetto.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I don't think his went over well either.
Oh no.
So are you sure you're not looking at his on Rotten Tomatoes?
I'm pretty sure I was. It said 2022.
Yeah, they both came out pretty much almost same month as each other.
That's smart.
Yeah. That was Disney going, no, this is ours.
Well, I mean,
Del Toro said, hold my beer.
That's not the first time something like that's happened. Because, I mean, Mission to Mars and Red Planet?
You know what? I stand corrected. You're right. I was looking at the wrong one.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, the Rotten Tomatoes for Del Toro's was a lot higher.
32.
97.
Yeah. I said it was really good. And it's the one, I've watched it a lot, but every time I watch it, there's like something that I've missed. But just his use of, like the quote, quote, blue fairy reminded me of his angel out of Hellboy. So he definitely, he didn't cheer it up. It was total Del Toro.
Okay.
So the Tom Hanks one was live action.
Yes.
Okay, maybe that's what the reference was. Okay. So the live action version tanked.
Yeah.
The animated version was beloved.
If they consider Del Toro's animated because it was stop animation, if that makes a difference, but
it won the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature Film.
Yeah. Like I said, it was good.
I think they called it animation.
I would almost put it up there with Pan's Labyrinth.
But doesn't that make it not available for the actual Best Picture award?
I'm not sure how they would do that.
I would think so. I wouldn't think it would be available for one and not the other. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Me either.
I mean, that's the Academy for you.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about some more fun stuff. This is going to be a little more fun. If y'all remember, Dolly Parton was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and she made the comment, if I'm going to be in there, I'm going to earn it. I'm going to have to earn it. So, on November 17th, she is releasing an album titled Rockstar, which has 30 rock songs.
Dang.
And listen to the track list here. First one is Rockstar, which has Richie Sambora, World on Fire, Every Breath You Take featuring Sting, Open Arms featuring Steve Perry, that's a Journey song, Magic Man featuring Ann Wilson and Howard Leese on guitar, As Long as I Can See the Light featuring John Fogerty, Either Or featuring Kid Rock, I Want You Back featuring Steven Tyler with special guest Warren Haynes, What Has Rock and Roll Ever Done for You featuring Stevie Nicks with special guest Waddy Wachtel, Purple Rain, Baby I Love Your Way featuring Peter Frampton, I Hate Myself for Loving You featured Joan Jett and the Blackhearts,
Cool.
Night Moves featuring Chris Stapleton, Wrecking Ball featuring Miley Cyrus, I Can't Get No Satisfaction featuring Pink and Brandi Carlile, Keep on Loving You featuring Kevin Cronin, REO Speedwagon, Heart of Glass featuring Debbie Harry,
Cool.
Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me featuring Elton John, Tried to Rock and Roll Me featuring Melissa Etheridge, Stairway to Heaven featuring Lizzo and Sasha Flute, We Are the Champions, Bygones featuring Rob Halford with special guests Nikki Sixx and John Five,
Wow.
My Blue Tears featuring Simon Le Bon, What's Up featuring Linda Perry, You're No Good featuring Emmylou Harris and Sheryl Crow, Heartbreaker featuring Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo, Bittersweet featuring Michael McDonald, I Dreamed About Elvis featuring Ronnie McDowell with special guest the Jordanaires. I'm going to skip number 29. I'll go back to that one. 30 is Freebird featuring Ronnie Van Zant with special guest Gary Rossington, Artemis Pyle, and the Artemis Pyle Band.
Interesting.
And number 29 is Let It Be featuring Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr with special guests Peter Frampton and Mick Fleetwood.
Interesting.
A Beatles reunion.
Cool. Because if anybody could do that, it's Dolly friggin' Parton.
It's going to be Dolly, yeah.
I mean, if anybody could just put out the word and get that many guest stars on her album, it's Dolly Parton. I mean, come on.
This is going to be a freaking awesome album.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
And a huge one at that.
Oh, God, yes. November 17th.
We could question how many of those songs are actually rock and roll, but that would probably start weird debates. And it's probably best to let it go.
Yeah.
A lot of them are. Some of them are pop.
Well.
Some of them are pop. That's all I'm saying. We won't go into names, but some of them are pop.
I understand what you're saying, but I mean, look at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
No, right. I mean, it's a much more diverse group of artists in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame than you would glean from the name itself. And I mean, that alone should tell us that Dolly doesn't need to do this. I mean, good God, she's done so much for music in general in this country over her career. She deserves something, and why not that?
Yeah.
But whatever.
Well, I think she just said that just to be, I think she was joking when she said it, and then someone would go, "Oh God, that's going to be a great idea. Let's do this." And then the more she thought about it, yeah, let's freaking do it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
Why the hell not?
Yeah.
Oh, I agree. It's going to be awesome. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
I'm just sorry that she's going to be relying on so many people.
Most of those people would pay good money just to be on a record with her.
Yeah.
Probably including the Beatles. That's cool.
So, yeah, that should be
pretty cool.
That should be a fun album.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, November 17th. So, a few months down the line, but hey.
Yep.
Start saving your pennies now.
Mm-hmm. We'll be waiting.
Alrighty. Any special shout-outs or mentions this week?
Nope. I'm good.
Not here.
Me either.
Okay. We'll move on to our regular shout-outs. First off, I want to thank Pop Goes the Culture Podcast Network for allowing us to be part of a great group of fellow podcasts. Definitely check them out. There'll be a link in our show notes. We also want you to check out the fine men and women who spread the word of the fellowship by retweeting our links on Twitter. That is Potter and Family. The best way to check them out is just to do a search, hashtag Potter and Family, all one word. Scroll through, whatever catches your attention, click on that link and download that episode. And we hope you have a great time listening to them. Thank you guys as always. Want to thank Manny the Martyr for supplying the music to the podcast. In our show notes, we'll have a link where you can check out their other work. And finally, you, dear listener, thank you for downloading and listening to today's episode. We value your feedback. Any questions, comments, suggestions, complaints, observations, what have you, please send them our way. Email is email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, or you can go to the website, go to the About Us page, and there is a contact form that you can fill out there. If you join our Discord, we do have a channel specifically for feedback where you can post your thoughts there. On social media, we're on Facebook, The Fellowship of the Geeks, on Instagram, Twitter, and Hive Social. We are at Fellowship Geeks. Follow us all there. If you'd like to follow our personal Twitter accounts, Mike can be found at Mikey Geek. Liz can be found at LN_Geek. Les may or may not be found at Fake Les Webster. And I can be found at Tom TC Geek. And from wherever you download our episodes, if you'd be so kind as to rate and review the show, it would be greatly appreciated. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Just thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, everybody.
Appreciate you listening.
Thank you for listening, everybody. We appreciate the support as always. Until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook at The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,